people are asking a question saying, Pat, did you really move to Florida, right? And if you've done it, because I wrote a letter years ago saying, Dear California, I'm leaving you.
It was a love letter of sorts.
It was a love letter I wrote to California.
Everybody should check that
Yes.
out.
The breakup letter.
Breakup letter I wrote to California.
And a breakdown.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
And she still calls, she still writes, she still pursues
we still have a great...
I miss you, baby.
Yes, we still have a conversation.
You go, you visit, you slide in, you say what's up, and then you're out.
You go slide in.
Late night text.
Yeah, so, but Texas is not really a breakup. Texas is like, we're moving, because Texas and Florida have a lot in common. But I wanted to find out what Florida does with taxes, because Texas, they said, oh, you go to Texas, let me tell you, the property taxes are really high. Guess what? They are higher than California. There's no question about it. If you want a house in California versus Texas, property taxes are much higher than it is in California.
Interesting.
But Florida is not necessarily higher property taxes than Texas. So how do they make their money? How does Florida make their money? Did you know Florida gets 140 million tourists every year? 2019. Forget about 2020. Obviously, things change. But prior to that, it's 140 per year.
Yep.
You got Disney World. You got Universal Studios. You got Miami. You got so many different
South
things.
Beach.
You got South Beach. You got the best libraries in South Beach. It's a lot of different
best
reasons.
libraries. Oh, the best libraries.
Best
in South
libraries,
Beach.
right? It's many reasons why people come to Florida, right?
Of course. For the libraries.
Did you know
Yes.
Florida has a 7% sales tax, but Florida has a 5% tourist tax? They call it the Florida tourist tax,
Yes.
which means if you're a tourist and you come here, whatever you do, if you live, and they define tourists as less than 6 months.
Right.
If you live here less than 6 months, you pay that additional 5%. So that additional 5%, they tax tourists, and they allow the folks who live here to not pay taxes. So they collect taxes from sales.
Yep.
They collect taxes from tourists, but they don't collect taxes, state taxes, from folks who
citizens.
live here. Think about that.
Yep.
What a way to it's not necessarily punishing, you're taxing those who want to come here for vacation.
You're coming here.
But if you're living here, they're like, look, no state taxes, we'll get the money from somewhere else. Great, brilliant idea. If you ever want to run a country, something to be thinking about.
Yeah,
Adam.
I'm thinking about running a
Yeah,
country.
if you
so
ever
when
do-
when that comes up.
If you
Maybe
ever
the
do-
Philippines. I team up with Sapaula.
Well, I can only
we,
see you. It's like the beltless president running a country, Adam Beltless Sosnick.
Free belts for everybody. This is what's going on here.
With all the talk about the trillions and trillions of dollars
Yeah.
that the government spending in the federal deficit, the budget for Florida is $90.98 billion. Pretty interesting.
$90.98 billion.
To run the state.
And the general revenue portion is $33.93 billion per Governor Ron DeSantis.
And I think they're the number 4 state when it comes down to GDP. I think number 1, number 2, obviously California, New York. You got California, New York, Texas. I think Texas is actually number 2, and then you got Florida. So it is one of the top 4 that you're looking at. Okay, what they're doing. So,
But back to I have one question.
Tourist
on
tax?
Yeah, because I'm familiar with that. Obviously, the tourist tax and all that. But where does that 5% come from? Taxing the tourists. Where does that come through? Sales tax?
if you're staying at a hotel, you
A
show your
hotel,
ID.
okay,
it says this,
yeah.
okay, tourist. If you're
Gotcha.
the money's going to come from somewhere. Obviously,
Yeah.
you go into the market. Publix doesn't say, "Oh, we're going to pay 5% because you're not from here," but they're collecting it from somewhere. And I
Yeah.
think it's a brilliant idea. It's something that California and others can learn from.
For sure.
If you think about it, California also gets a lot of what?
Tourists.
A lot of
yeah.
tourists. I mean, you got
Not so much Texas, though. Not as much as California and
Shame on
Florida.
you for saying that. Bite
I'm
your tongue.
sorry. I'm sorry
Bite
to my
your tongue
friends in
right now.
Texas.
Hey, you
Nobody
were a
wakes
tourist.
up and says, I need to go to San Antonio.
How many people you know who grew up in South Beach,
Yeah.
partied in South Beach,
Yeah.
have your reputation in South Beach,
Yeah.
Bodega, all these other
All of
stuff
it.
that they have.
Shout out to
How many
Bodega.
people you know
Yeah.
that went and lived in Addison for a year after doing that?
Oh, just one, baby. There's one guy. There's one guy.
You're probably
and
the
his
only
heart,
guy in the history
I
of
left my
South
heart in
Beach.
Addison. The gecko.
So
Shout out to
Texas
the gecko.
doesn't get tourists; they get transplants.
Yeah,
They
so
relocate.
So but the point
Yes.
is, if you really think about it, what if they said what if California said tourist tax is 10%? Would people pay it? What if they said tourist tax is 20%?
They would still go.
They
I
would
think.
still
Yes,
pay it.
Yes, yes. Because they want to visit. You're going on vacation.
Actually, think about this idea. What if California ran a tourist tax of 20%? So let's just say California wants to compete, right? People are like, oh, Pat wants California to. What if California decided to compete with other states and said, hey, new governor runs in the state of California, okay?
Yeah.
If a guy's listening to this, or if you know somebody that's running for governor, send this part to them, let them think about it, and if you hear it, you know where you heard it first. What if the governor of California says, hey, right now state taxes are 13.3, right? go through the whole state taxes that week. Because, Biden, we're going to get into Biden's tax plan. He just announced that he's raising the taxes, highest tax hike since 1993. The new economic tax, we'll talk. Matter of fact, we'll get into it right off the bat. What if a governor in California says, we got a 13.3 taxes right now, but we got, Mari, can you find out how many tourists go to California in 2019? Can somebody find out what that number is?
What's interesting here too, as well, is that the state of Florida had a $3.8 billion in reserves before the pandemic. Pandemic brought a $2.7 billion deficit, so they had more than enough to deal with the coronavirus.
Check this out. That's not the number, Mario. There's a number here that says California expected to see 279 million tourists in 2019. Florida's 140. California's 2x that, 280. Insane, right? Think about tourism.
Yeah.
So if you got 280 million people that go to California for tours, what if you say, moving forward, we eliminate state taxes in California? 13.3 is gone. However, any tourist coming here, 20% taxes. So if a room rate at the hotel is $500, guess what you're paying? $600. If you're going in, you're getting in, an Uber, and Uber says you're registered in a different state, but you get in California, it's a $20 ride? No, it's a $24 ride. What if that 20%, you know how Europe has that VAT,
VAT tax.
VAT tax that they have?
Tax.
Okay, it's like it's a consumption tax. What if they offered that 20% tax to tourists? What do you think that number would drop? Go 280 and actually think about it. I want you to actually think about it, Matt, both of you guys. Say California announced officially 2023, any tourist that comes to the state of California, taxes are 20% for you, for tourists. Anyone that lives here for less than 6 months. How much you think that 280 million tourists would drop? From what? It's going to be a drop, but what do you think that drop is?
Yeah, 20% is aggressive. Even if it were 10%.
I want to be aggressive.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
I want to be aggressive and say 20%.
I don't think much at all.
What do you think that 280 million drops?
10%, 20%, maybe.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
I don't think people are like, I could go on vacation.
But let's say 20%.
So
I would call it the
$100.
2020 plan. You know what the 2020 plan is? We're going to charge 20% for tourists, and we're going to lose 20% of the 280 million coming. It's okay. That 20% is going to generate revenue, and guess what that's going to do? If I eliminate state taxes in California, now we're recruiting everybody back.
Yep.
Think about what that could mean. But for that to be taking place, it's a little scary for some of the government officials working there. It's pretty dramatic of an idea. But if you did something like that, and tourists are still going to go to LA, they're still going to go to see the Hollywood. Because what is the average travel? If you travel somewhere, how much money do we spend? Say a husband and wife, 2 kids.
Couple grand, easy.
If you're going to go to California from UK, okay, you're going to spend what, $10,000?
Oh, yeah, for just, exactly, with airfare and
everything,
food and the whole thing.
Okay, let's just say it's going to be $12,000. Is that going to change your mind of going to California?
$12,000?
Instead of $10,000 to go from UK, I'm just calculating flights and everything.
Yeah.
What if it's $12,000?
Still going.
You think the person's going to say, oh, because of $12,000 we're not going? I don't think so. I think they would still make the money. And I think California ought to really consider this. Forget about 5%, go to 20% and eliminate that 13.3. Anyways, I woke up this morning, I said, California, you guys keep thinking like I'm hating on California. There's an idea for you. Go pitch it to a potential future governor, or you go run in the state of California as a governor and eliminate that state taxes. It will be very, very hard to compete with the state of California. Because if they eliminate the state taxes, 13.3, so the 20% you lose here on the tourists, you gain in business owners moving to you. Forget about losing the tourists. You get jobs created. You get people saying, why the hell would I go anywhere? Then you have to put a limit on who can come to the state of California. You got all the resources, but unfortunately, politics gets in the way for something like this to take place. This is why I'm nominating Adam to run for governor in the state of California. And I'm your campaign manager.
Yes, thank you. With you by my side, I think we can win this.
I would be your campaign manager.
Free belts for everyone.
No belt for you.
Exactly. So you're basically saying Florida, California, take a page out of Florida's playbook, do something different.
Double down.
But do something different and double down. Instead of 7%, 5%, go all in, 20%. Screw it. Let's do it.
You can. By the way, if you're listening to this, how many guys say, it's an interesting idea, I like it? Put thumbs up if you think, right now we have 130 thumbs up, 1 thumbs down. If you think it's a good idea, put thumbs up. If you think it's a terrible idea, put thumbs down. I'm curious. And then explain why you think it's a terrible idea and you would not entertain it. Yeah, because don't come to California. So you have 2 choices, okay? If you're governor of a state, California, which one do you prefer? Tourists or small businesses coming to you and staying with you? Small businesses coming
all
to
day.
you. So who do you want to please more? Who do you want to please more?
The job creators.
Your people.
That's
People that want you to,
Dude,
that are there.
Hey, you're paying 20%. You are paying 20% tourists. You want to come visit us.
Yep.
This is like it's my house. You want to come visit? Come on down. It's all good. But you're a visitor. But I want to make sure the people that live in that house are protected. I want to make sure those guys have the biggest upside. I want to make sure people want to come create for my economy.
Right.
I think that's, I would be very, this is one of those videos that if we put this on Valuetainment short clips, I want to hear commentary and I want to hear you tear up my idea. Just destroy the idea. I want to read every single article. I'm going to, every single response, and I'm going to comment to every one of those that gives their explanation in the short clips. When it comes out, I want to hear your argument to say that's a terrible idea.
What do you think the blowback is in the bureaucracy in terms of politics? Why would they push back on something like that? What would they say? What would the special interests say? Why would not that be a
well?
good...
So this is what it's going to come down to if you really think about it. Like yesterday, I spoke to the former. This guy said the Den of Nerds Live, $10, incredible idea, could save the state. Okay. So yesterday I was speaking with Jimmy Petronas. Jimmy Petronas is the CFO of the state of Florida. He follows Valuetainment. He knows the content, and we're trying to figure something out because. We'd like to have him. We'd like to have Governor DeSantis on to talk about what Florida does and what part of it is transferable to other states. So you asked the question, what would prevent the politicians to want to do that?
Sure.
Right? Okay. Well, for me, it works like this. Say I'm sitting with my board and the board comes up and says, the sales leaders come up and say, hey, Pat, what about if we do such and such idea on the comp? Okay. What's the first thing I say? First thing we do is let's run the data and see what it looks like. Let's run some, beta tests and see what it would look like. Let's go back 6 months. Okay, and we run it. Okay, we run it. What would have changed? Like we're up 160% for the month. Like this is a record breaking. These guys are not 160%. They're 200 something plus % on what these guys are doing.
Money Smart movement is doing things.
They're going to be $5 to $10 million earners in no time. The way they're going. I mean, it's not even funny. But imagine I go to the board. I say, guys, I think we need to do X, Y, Z. What are you talking about? Yes. But then I show the chart. And I say, boom, boom, boom. If you did this, you did this. Oh, this, you would do this. If they ran numbers and presented it with the data to say, here's how much money you pulled in from your 13.3%. Here's your $279 million. These $279 million go to Disney World. We can collect the 20% tax from there. Disney's not paying for it. The people that are going there are paying for it. So if Disney's tickets are $300 a pop, all they have to pay is what? $360. That's an additional 20%. You have to pay for it. You come in here. Nobody told you to come. You have Disneyland, Disney World. Pick one of the two. And at the same time, all of these Florida, Nevada, Texas, Tennessee, all of these places that are recruiting our small business owners away, we shut those people up and they stay put. And not only that, guess what we do now? You get on the hall, you get on the radio, you get on the video, you play offense and you say, hey, if you left us, guess what? Hey, if you did this, now you're presenting. Now, this doesn't mean people are going to move back because if you're already in the state of Texas, you're paying 0% state taxes, or Florida, you're not really going to move back.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I hope you realize I'm moving my dad here, I'm moving my sister. This is not a message of wanting to move back to California. Zero. If we can turn off our ringtone, someone's ringtone's going off, if we can turn it off. So, Mario, is it yours or just tell your girl you'll call her back afterwards?
Jesus, Mario.
Mario and his girls.
Tell her relax, dude.
One or like... Mary, please, that's enough.
Mary, there's Mary again.
We've told Mary, leave it alone from 8:30 to 10:30. But
I heard it's Aisha.
Now here's my you are the girl that I never had, and I want to get to know you.
By the way, it's called the 40 Club.
Just you know that song, Aisha.
Yesterday,
we were doing things in the 80s.
I'm talking to this girl, Autumn Moore, and I say, Autumn, you know who you remind me of what? What if Macarena? And she says, I have no idea what that song is. I said, if you know that song.
The freaking Macarena.
Big shout out to Autumn Moore, most girls out there.
Gen Z's out there. They don't know about Aisha.
No idea what
they don't know about Poison, Belle Biv DeVoe.
You were saying something.
I was just saying, is this something that you just magically woke up and I got an idea? Or have you been ruminating about this for a little while?
24 hours. I've been thinking about it all day from last night. I was telling you guys about it at midnight. I'm like, what a brilliant... California is one move away. One move away. if the right governor goes there who knows how to sell this, because this has to be sold.
Right.
This cannot be like, I think we can have a great idea if we charge tourists 20%. Like, you can't say
Was that
charge
Ross
tourists.
Perot? Who was that?
Whoever it is, like a boring politician cannot sell this idea. It has to be somebody that can sell. This is a ridiculous, revolutionary idea that could save the state. It's that big of an idea. But
hopefully someone like Chamath, who's running for, I believe, governor, sees something like this and it ends up on his radar. And I think the point that you're making is California needs to shake things up. The status quo, people are moving, they're getting the hell out of there. They're recalling Governor Gavin Newsom. You know, it's just not a tax-friendly state. They need to do something different and take a playbook out of Florida, or who knows, will California be the #1 state in the country moving forward?
Yeah, no, I think it's such a revolutionary idea. But if the math backs up my argument, it's game over.
Yeah.
If math backs up the argument, it's game over.
Data be the driver.
Let's get some mathematicians on
it
it.
would be game over. You know who would follow suit right afterwards? Guess who would do
New
it
York.
next? New York.
In Illinois.
Guess who would do it next? Illinois. You would have all those 3 states do it, okay? Because all those 3 states have a lot of what? Tourists.
Yep.
All those 3 states. What's Can we find out what? Whose is that? It's on the iPad. It's something. It's a Mac something that's making that kind of a noise. Whose is that? Is that yours?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. I'm on full silent mode.
So I'm curious now to find out what's New York's 2019
tourism.
Everybody check it as if it's.
I'll do Illinois.
You do Illinois. I'm gonna do New York. 2019 New York tourist. New York State tourism statistic 2019. What do we have? 265.5 million.
And it was 280 in
California.
So New York and California, neck and neck.
Same thing. They could do the same thing. Generating an economic impact of $118 billion.
Illinois, 120 million.
Wow, 120 million. Florida's
Less than
140.
Florida?
Yeah, but still
I'm
120
surprised that
million
Illinois-
for Chicago. That
I'm
weather
surprised
gets.
that-
That's
What?
ridiculous. So you got 280 million California. You got 265.5 million New York. You got 140 Florida. You got 120 New York. Buddy, I mean, this could, it's a playbook that could be used. By the way, you know who wouldn't like this? Who wouldn't like this? China wouldn't like this.
Because they're getting whacked. The taxes coming in. Yeah.
China wouldn't like this. It would actually unify the country. It would unify the country because you're putting everybody, like, actually be the devil's advocate. Give me the argument. Like, what part of it you're like, well, it's not going to work here. Well, what of this argument? What would you say to it?
Yeah, I mean, coming in, they have choices, countries, let alone states. You know, we're paying a little bit more of a premium. I would think that would also happen to the small businesses too as well. So not only the individuals, but I would also say the, for lack of a better term, whatever tariffs or income taxes or state sales taxes have to come through the Chinese tourism would come in. And say, you know what, we got, you know, England to go to, Australia to go to, whomever. It would be, you know, pinging that off the different, you know, ideas of where to go to.
But what's the devil, like, what would be?
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with the devil's advocate. Like, for instance, I don't know many people that say, well, I was going to go to Florida. I was going to go to Disney World. But that 5% tax, never heard it. So, you know, the more we're going down this path, essentially what you're saying is help the small businesses, help states recruit more businesses, and have the freaking tourists pay the tax. The one thing that I guess, you know, devil's advocate, we're thinking international tourism. That's what we're thinking, international tourism.
Sure.
But, you know, state-to-state tourism, I guess, is where it gets a little slippery because, you know, you're taxing your fellow citizens. If you're talking about nationalism and, you know, bringing everybody together and coalescing, you're still going to be taxing fellow Americans visiting your state.
Yeah, but guess what? What I'm trying to tell you is I love my state.
Gotcha. You're going state pride with it.
I'm protecting my constituents. That's your job when you get elected.
Touche, as the governor.
Yeah, as the governor, I'm your advisor. I'm advising you as the future governor.
Correct.
I'm your you know,
consigliere.
I'm your
respect.
advisor. Your job is to protect them. Who wouldn't like it in the state of Florida? You're going to get pushback from who? Disney, Universal Studios. Some of the people, some of the tourist businesses in South Florida may not agree with that. They're going to be like, hey, you can't. Keys may say you're hurting us, right? But a lot of people that go to
Why
Keys
would,
is
why
coming
would
from.
the businesses in Florida oppose this?
Why wouldn't they? Disney's going to
You're
say.
saying oppose other states doing it?
No. Florida would oppose if you raise the tourist tax to 20%. Florida would oppose it. Disney would oppose it. Universal Studios would oppose it. So anybody that relies, like when you go to Croatia, they get 4 million tourists every year. This small island called Dubrovnik.
Yeah, beautiful island.
Beautiful island. From there, yeah. The only revenue is tourism.
Right.
We were in Hawaii. How many times did people say thank you?
Thank you. Thank you for opening us up. You know, the photographers, the taxi, the restaurants. If
Did people think you were Hawaiian, by the way?
They'd say, "What's up, Uso?"
And that's like the homie. And
homie. That's right.
Well,
shout
your
out
son
to the,
looks Hawaiian. Jordan
really?
looks Hawaiian.
That's right.
Yeah,
shout out to the Rock's younger cousin visiting us today.
Based on what Pitbull said, right? He said he looks like Rock's younger cousin. But the point is, Hawaii, same thing. They rely on tourism.
Yeah.
Okay, so who would oppose it? Those small businesses who rely on tourism. But would they benefit long term from small business owners moving there?
For
I
sure.
think someone's going to take a hit no matter what. The hit's going to be put on the tourist. The hit's going to be put on the tourist business locally. But long term, that state's going to get a lot of benefits of people staying there and commerce and business not leaving. I can't believe we spent 20 minutes talking about we just California taxes.
Allow me to just give one sort of epiphany that I had since doing this podcast. One thing you made me full on understand is that governors need to be recruiters to their states.
There's no question.
But you can't just sit back, we run our state.
Governors,
Your job is
mayors,
to bring in
aldermen,
jobs, to bring in talent, or you're going to fall by the wayside. And that's something that I think Florida's doing a good job of. Obviously, you got recruited by Rick Perry. Come on down to a Rangers
recruiter.
game.
I couldn't believe how good of a recruiter
He can't name the 3 different parts of the economy that he'd like to change, but he could recruit your ass out of California. So
and right now, if you look at the guy that's the leading candidate to be the president 2024,
don't say
behind Trump.
Don't say it.
Behind Trump.
Don't say it.
Behind Trump.
Are you about to say DeSantis?
DeSantis is the leading candidate.
According to CPAC?
Not according to CPAC, according to data.
More than Pence?
BLM trusted Florida more than any other state. MBA trusted Florida.
Well, they're the only state that was open.
But that's why you come in here then. Then shut down the NBA. The NBA needs to thank DeSantis because you chose to do your NBA playoffs in Florida.
And the Super Bowl.
And the Super Bowl.
And potentially the Olympics.
But what his policies has garnered him the conversation of being considered 2024 candidate for presidency.
They're also, I mean, look, I'm
guilty. He gets hate.
No, guilty as charged. Florida's getting a lot of hate right now during spring break. Like, it's a full-on zoo going on in Fort Lauderdale,
I heard
South
you
Beach.
partied hardcore Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you decided to make Wednesday ladies' night.
Let me tell you something. I'm at the point where I can go hard one night, Friday night, I'm done for the rest of the weekend. I used to go Friday, Saturday, run it back on Sunday. I'm at the point where it's like I'll go hard on a Friday.
IG Stories disappears in 24 hours.
Exactly,
so you're very fortunate with that.
Yeah, if you see Adam not posting IG Stories for 2 days, he's been partying.
Touche.
Zero documentation.
Guilty as charged.
He's recovering. So
I think Ron DeSantis needs a nickname. What I mean,
Ron DeSantis?
Ron, instead of Run DMC,
Ron the Magnet DeSantis.
I think
there's a magnet attracting businesses to Florida.
What about like Ron GDP instead of DMC? Ron GDP. Ron. DN. Okay. I'm going somewhere.
It says coming from Illinois and both going to Texas and Florida has been a completely different world for me coming from Illinois.
Yeah.
When I got COVID, right away I found a 15-minute rapid test, all within a 5-10 mile radius. Found 3 of them in Illinois. It's a doctor's appointment, and then it's
you're saying you found you were saying you were in Texas.
He got COVID in Texas.
In Texas, but right away
I think a lot of us did. I think we're all. Texas is guilty for that.
And then coming to Florida, you know, the businesses are open. People are inside their restaurants. I'm actually shocked. By the way, Chicago, I know it's 33 and snowing out there right now. It's 80 and balmy out here in Florida.
Look at recruiting.
You see, it's easy to
recruit. You're constantly recruiting.
Easy to recruit. Yeah.
Great recruiter.
15th move. But you know,
5 years he'll be here.
Yeah. We'll be making $10 million a year. We'll be buying a house in your neighborhood at that point.
Well, we'll be making some exciting announcements here very soon. We'll make some exciting announcements here. No, not him. No, not him. But even
You're
what
pregnant
he
again?
said, even what he said
with other things.
He said VPs. Yeah, he said the fact that COVID, all that stuff, and within 15 minutes he finds 3 places to go do it. I call my guys in California. I call Ricky. I said, Ricky, go get tested. Ricky had to drive from Bakersfield to Glendale to get tested.
That's what, on a 2-hour drive? What is that?
It's not even from Bakersfield to Glendale. There's a bunch of cities you go through that are good sized cities. None of them. You mean to tell me none of them had?
How's that even freaking possible?
How's that even freaking possible, right?
Yeah.
But
it's
you
like
don't
a third
know
world country in
because you've only lived you've lived in other places.
Yeah.
But your experiences are in states ran by Abbott and DeSantis.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
for you, your leaders have been DeSantis and Abbott. That's all you know. You don't know Newsom. Like Ricky
I don't know
knows
Newsom like
yeah,
that. No,
Ricky
I don't have
knows
hate for Newsom like some people have hate.
Well, you've never lived in
Newsom.
California.
And
I know
you ought to live in California to
well,
have
Newsom's doing a great job, and obviously our good friend Andrew Cuomo's doing a great job. People are very excited about him these days.
I say we have a camera follow you.
Yeah.
And you go to live in California for 1 year. Okay. And you tell us how you feel about it.
Yeah. Okay.
1 year.
I'm sure my attitude would change about everything.
You think so?
I mean, a lot of people. I feel like
kind
California,
of recruiting you to be that governor because you go there and all these policies are going to all of a sudden that could work.
This
you know
guy
what?
Sosnick showed up. The tax changed 20% tourism tax. Wonder where he got it from. Yeah. So tell us about the biggest difference
tax
between
the tourist.
Tax the tourist. It's a great campaign.
Tax
slogan.
TTT. Tax the tourist. TTT.
Tell us what's going on in Illinois, in Chicago right now. I mean, you kind of brushed over it a little bit, but I mean, you've been in Texas, now you've been in Florida for a few days, and you spent some time in Florida. Biggest differences in your mind, politically, socially, economically, what have you seen?
Well, first of all, Illinois, we've got 4 governors that's been to prison. That's number one.
Yeah.
It's a brown envelope type of state.
4 governors in the past how long?
Last 20 years.
Really? There was a what was his name?
Blagojevich.
Governors.
Ridiculous. What is this, freaking Detroit?
Yes. And then you got pretty much Chicago.
Were they all Democrat? Or there's some Republicans? Because
Democrat.
Blagojevich was a Republican, no?
So
equal opportunity criminals.
And you pretty much have one county, one city pretty much running the whole entire state.
That's Chicago?
Right, Cook County.
Yeah. Cook County is Chicago. Okay.
Yeah. And so, exactly. Cook County is Chicago. But there's you've got Governor Pritzker right now, who's the 53 richest man in the world.
Pritzker family is big time.
Of course.
Big time.
Yeah. So he's running it.
He's a big boy too.
When he was running for governor, we went to meet him. First question I asked him, how do we fix the pension plan, the pension programs? And no real quick answer there. No real plan. I was very happy on election night. If there's one thing to be happy on election night was that he was attempting to put a progressive income tax in Illinois, not just a flat tax.
Yep.
And they got voted out. He put $53 million of his own money to campaign for progressive income tax. His biggest donor to that whole campaign was $1,500. So not a lot of people believed in the progressive income tax in Illinois. No. But there's a lot of there's just a lot of challenges there locally, and so that's the excitement. Talking with Robert Isham there of Illinois Policy Institute. So there's a lot of things that we're looking to get involved in.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.